I don't know if writing this down changes anything, but I was told by more than one person that clarity sometimes comes after the noise stops. So I'm trying to record it exactly as it happened, not how my mind keeps rearranging it when I can't sleep. My daughter came home just after sunset. She didn't run in like she usually does. She stood at the gate for a moment longer than necessary, holding a small wrapped box against her chest like it was heavier than it looked. I remember noticing her grip first, fingers tight, knuckles pale. She didn't look at me when she said, "They told me to give this to you." "They?" I asked. She hesitated in that way children do when they're trying not to betray an instruction. Then she added, almost rehearsed, "Grandpa said you shouldn't overreact." That sentence didn't belong to her. That was the first thing that felt wrong. Not the box, not even the message, the way it was delivered, like she had been placed in the middle of something she wasn't supposed to understand. I asked her to sit down. She didn't. She stayed standing, as if sitting would mean she was staying longer in whatever this was. The box wasn't large. No sound came from it, no smell, nothing obvious. That almost made it worse, because it felt intentional in a way I couldn't explain yet. I opened it in the kitchen. There are moments your mind tries to protect you from by slowing everything down. This was one of them. I remember the tape pulling away too loudly. I remember my own breathing sounding unfamiliar. What was inside wasn't dramatic in the way people expect betrayal to look. It was organized, deliberate, not something done in anger, something done with patience. Enough for me to understand that this wasn't a misunderstanding that could be talked through in a single conversation. I didn't argue with myself after that. I didn't even cry at first. I called the police because the alternative was pretending I hadn't seen what I saw. My daughter was still standing in the same place when I hung up. I don't think she understood why my hands were shaking. I told her to go to her room. Then I waited. Rachel arrived before the police did. She didn't knock like a visitor. She came in like someone responding to a message she already understood without reading it twice. She looked at me, then at the box, then at my face again. No questions, at first, just presence. That was always her way. "You did call them," she said quietly. I nodded. She didn't ask what was inside. She didn't need to. That was the strange part. Some people don't wait for explanations before they adjust their understanding of you. We didn't talk much after that. There wasn't anything to build conversation on that wouldn't have felt like avoidance. The officers arrived within minutes of each other. The house changed in a way that's hard to describe unless you've experienced it, the shift from private space to procedural space. Suddenly, every surface felt temporary. Every word felt recorded, even when no one was writing it down. They asked questions. I answered them. Rachel did too when they turned toward her. She stayed calm in a way that made me realize I wasn't alone in seeing this as something that had already moved beyond personal conflict. Then we waited again. That's when the front door opened. My husband came in like it was an ordinary evening, like none of the air in the house had changed density. He stopped the moment he saw the uniforms. Then he saw Rachel. Everything in his face changed, not gradually, not emotionally, but structurally, like a door closing inside him before he even spoke. "What is he doing here?" he said. He wasn't looking at the officers. He was looking at her. And in that moment, something I had been trying not to name finally became impossible to ignore. This wasn't only about the box. It was about overlap, about histories that had been running parallel without me fully seeing where they touched. The officer asked him to step further inside. His attention didn't leave Rachel. That was the only thing that felt consistent in him. The questions continued, but they no longer belonged to me in the same way. They belonged to procedure, to sequence, to documentation. I remember realizing almost distantly that the situation had moved out of my emotional control and into something more structured, something that would continue with or without my ability to keep up with it. Rachel stayed until they asked her for her statement. She didn't look at me when she left the room, not because she was avoiding me, but because there are moments when looking at someone feels like taking something from them they still need to hold together. After that, the house became quieter than it should have been, not peaceful, just reclassified. My daughter stayed in her room the whole time. No one raised their voice in the way people expect from breaking points. That didn't happen. Everything important was said in lower tones, in pauses, in the spaces between questions where no one tried to soften meaning anymore. I don't know what resolution looks like yet. I don't think I'm supposed to. What I know is this: the version of my life where that box never arrived ended that day. And the version that started after it doesn't belong to me alone anymore. It belongs to whoever is responsible for explaining what was done quietly enough that it took a child to carry it across a threshold.